Today is special here at Local 5. We welcome back a friend and colleague. You have welcomed her into your homes for the past year, depending on her to cover the big stories and to bring you critical information. Tonight, Local 5's Nora Reichardt wants you to meet the real Nora, her true self.
I love the Des Moines Metro. I've come to love Iowa, and I'm glad that I get to keep sharing how much I enjoy those things. My name is Nora J.S. Reichardt, and I am a transgender woman living in Des Moines and working for WOI Local 5. For a long time, I didn't think I would get to say that, at least not on air like this. I didn't know if there was a place and a space for me to do this sort of work that I've really come to love and enjoy, while also getting to be myself while I do it. Especially early on, it's hard to place that sense of wrongness. Like I'm just a person who's almost wearing my body, not a person who's living in it. In late high school, I started having some thoughts in that direction, but it was at a time growing up in a pretty rural area that I didn't even have the language to describe what I was feeling. I thought I was just depressed. I thought I was just anxious, and I've had those feelings almost as long as I can remember. A while after I started being on air, I kind of just reached a personal breaking point of like, why don't I like the person that I'm seeing every time I'm going out in the field?
It is hard to overstate the devastation that this community has seen.
Why don't I connect with that person? Why don't I want to be that person?
We'll keep you up to date here on Local 5.
I started counseling last September, so I've been in some degree going through this process for just about a year now. I've pursued a more medical intervention. I am on hormone replacement therapy. There was a decent span of time where everyone in my life functionally knew me as Nora, except for the viewers at home.
Steph, many of us might not realize it, but hearing aid prices can be staggering.
Feeling like I was splitting myself into two like that. It's very weird to approach like every day at work as if it's a dress-up day, but that's really what it felt like when I made this exact leap of telling the viewers at home everything is going to be different, that the little name under my headshot is going to look a little different now on air. And I wanted to personally feel as ready as possible to make that jump, because there are expectations that come with it. So today, really big day for me. I'm officially filing the paperwork to legally change my name. In the state of Iowa, you have to file a petition with name change with the local court, and that's what I've got here. Got everything printed out. My dead name and my hopefully soon to be permanent name after this. This is just my credit card information, so please don't get this in the shot. Continue there. Reviewing payment. Submission confirmation. There we go. When I stepped away from work, it's the last thing I had left on my to-do list to feel like I'd accomplished everything I wanted to while I was gone. So in many ways, this feels like an end and a welcome back. I'm very fortunate that I'm in a position where my coworkers and my employer want to support me in this.
Morning, Theo. Good to see you.
I had all of those support systems, and I had so much help in this process.
Yeah, we had Khalil and Larissa's story yesterday, kind of.
I texted them this morning to be like, hey, how did things go last night? No response yet.
Simon had that shooting info that he put in.
We're living in a time when there's so much misinformation floating around about people like me. I promise we're more interesting than bathrooms or sports or whatever. We're still living wonderful, fulfilling lives outside of that. I'm still very much the person I was before. I still know too many Spider-Man facts. I still play a little too many video games for my own good. I still enjoy reading at the coffee shops around Des Moines, which is where you can usually find me on my days off. None of that has changed. Especially for people who feel like they have a personal relationship with a trans person, it's understandable that it can feel like a loss. But the way I would ask people to reframe that is, you're getting someone better. You're getting someone that person is so much happier being. What really stuck with me is when my mom told me that she doesn't think she's ever seen me this happy. And I feel the same way. And to know that other people are seeing that too, especially my mom and dad, who I love so much, I can do anything as long as I still have that. I'm grateful to be here in Iowa, where I've felt very supported as I've gone through this process, and I'm excited to give people at home a closer view of what this sort of process looks like. At the end of the day, I am still the person that you've been seeing on TV for the last year or so. I'm just a little happier while I do it now. I just hope that I'm a positive part in people's lives, big or small. And as long as that can still stay true through all of this, the rest is noise.
Well, Nora, I think that was a wonderful story that you shared. It was very brave. We're so happy to have you back. And now that you are back and you are sharing your story, how are you doing?
Well, it's certainly been a whirlwind few weeks. I've been away from WOI for about 2.5 weeks, just getting ready to make this leap. It's some of the busiest weeks of my life, just making sure everything was all set. But it really is great to be back. I love getting to travel Iowa, doing the job that I do, just getting to share stories, meet new people, and it's hard to overstate how much it means to me to have the opportunity to actually get to do all that as me. So I'm feeling totally revitalized. This is the most excited I've ever been to get back to work, and I'm really looking forward to doing that soon.
I love to hear that, and I can see it on your face. And again, I'm so thrilled for you on a personal and professional level. And in that story, there were several moments where things just clicked for me, for things that maybe I wouldn't have understood before, I now understood. So I'd like to go through some of those key moments. And one of them, as a parent, was when you addressed how your mother saw you now. And I know this was something that weighed on you, how your parents were going to react. How did that go?
Yeah, it went honestly better than I could have dreamed it went. And I feel so fortunate that my mom and dad reacted how they did. And even if they don't totally understand everything yet, they want to, and they really want to put that effort in. I have other friends who haven't been so lucky as part of their journey. It just means so much that they want me to be happy, and they want me to be happy as the person I really am, and not the one that they knew. So obviously we're still kind of relearning how to get to know each other again, but there's just such a barrier between us removed that I feel like I've gotten to connect with them better just in the last about week and a half than I have in years. Now that this isn't in the way, there's no more secrets or anything like that. I'm happier talking to them than I've ever been.
And you mentioned being you and able to be a better version of you. Do you feel that today?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's that same point that I mentioned to my parents of just the number of people even you just did in this interview, just telling me how happy I've come off. It's hard to describe how much that weighed on me for how long. Just every scenario where I was still dressing up as a boy and telling people I was a person that I didn't really feel like I was. It's just hard to describe how much that weighs on you cumulatively over time. And now that all this is out there, I've got nothing left to hide. All that weight is gone. And it really, in many ways, feels like that for the first time in just over 24 years, my life is really, truly mine to do whatever I want with. Like, it feels like it's really just starting to become the life that I want to have. And I'm so excited to live it.
And we know that there are people out there who are going to be watching this who are feeling the same way you used to feel, who felt not at home in their own bodies and maybe feeling alone, not knowing what to do. What would your advice be to those people, or even to your former self, that teenager who just really didn't know but knew something was not right?
Honestly, for me, one of the biggest surprises going through this entire process has been the number of people who have leapt at the opportunity to help me with it, whether it's just some supportive conversations early on, or the number of women in my life who've opened their closets to me like, this is expensive, and just whatever help people can provide, they've been more than willing to. And oftentimes there is still a learning curve, but I've found myself surrounded with people who want to learn and want to still stay an active part in my life. And I guess that's the biggest thing I would want to tell anyone out there who is still struggling with figuring themselves out is the world is filled with way more people than you might expect who want you to be you and want you to be the happiest, best version of you that you can be.
Now, we know there's still a lot of misconceptions out there about transgender people. What are some of those that you would like to address and maybe dispel?
I think the big one is just the idea that everything, so much about us is just reduced to more things that are usually kept private, and the idea that that's all I am because I have XY chromosomes is just reductive. Every part of me and who I am and how I communicate with other people has always been this person, even if I didn't have the opportunity to show it before. And now that I do, it's such a wave of just new emotions. It shocked me how much this process has brought out of me that I didn't know was in there. So something I mentioned in the piece was just my lifelong struggles with depression and anxiety. I still deal with those, but so much of those battles came from my dysphoria and me struggling to just really feel like me. And that's something that I think a lot of people don't get, is just, it's a misunderstanding of what is dysphoria, what does dysphoria feel like? And so many people who are just like, well, I was born a man and I feel like a man, that's the end of the conversation. Just trying to explain what this actually feels like and how much it hurt me to be hiding it and dealing with it. I hope that I've shed some light on what that experience has been like.
And moving forward, how would you like to see the conversation in our country change or evolve so that we can grow?
Yeah, right now, it's been so reassuring to see so many more public, proud trans figures than I got to see when I was growing up, from Laverne Cox being on Orange is the New Black to Sarah McBride, who was the first out trans state senator. I got to hear from her in college, and that was such a powerful experience for me to just hear from someone else for the first time in my life who I thought might get it. And I hope that even in some small way, I'm starting to move towards that, of someone who, I know there aren't many women like me in this industry, but there is space for people like me in all industries, not just in TV news, not just in politics, everywhere. There are places that even if trans folks feel like they're not welcome or somewhere that they might not be able to be themselves, those spaces do exist. And I've been so thrilled to see more and more people filling those roles and being out and proud that they're doing it.
What has been maybe the most challenging part of this journey for you?
I feel very, very fortunate that I've never felt like I was in a position where my physical safety was threatened. The Des Moines Metro has been a really good place for me to discover this about myself, but I'm hoping that the situation can still improve further, because even if my safety hasn't been in question, I still have been stared at for longer than I'm usually comfortable with it. Like, it's usually not difficult to tell when someone has quote unquote clocked me as a trans person, and that can change how they treat me when they realize that, or someone cocks an eyebrow when I introduce myself as Nora, but they also hear this voice. And I just hope that can improve, and that I feel like as it becomes more normal for people to be going through this, it's just, we're less of an oddity and just people who are going about living our lives.
Wouldn't it be nice if we could just take people at face value and say hello? and have a nice conversation?
I certainly hope so, and I do truly believe that the future is going to be better for people like me. And I'm glad that I have gotten to share my story and hopefully play some small part in making that future a reality.
And I have one last question for you. What are you most looking forward to now for Nora?
Oh, I'm so excited to make up for lost time with so many friends that especially here in the Metro, that I felt like I was holding back from for so long. I just got to, a friend of mine had a party for getting out of a cast recently, and that was my first time introducing a lot of people in my social group to Nora, and that went great. And people were so excited and honestly wanting to hear about the process, and I felt so much more at ease in those sorts of settings than I ever did previously. And it's improved almost all of my social relationships to get to have this just improved connection with all of them, just this total honesty. And I want people to get to know Nora much more than I ever wanted them to get to know me before.
Well, you deserve every happiness, and you deserve every good moment that is coming to you in the future. We are so happy to have you on our team, Nora. Thank you so much for sharing this story with us.
Thank you, Steph.